Hello and welcome to round one. I have peeled a hand that doesn't actually do much on the draw. It doesn't have a guy we can cast. It could potentially be a good hand for Tragic Arrogance if there's a 2-drop on top of the deck, but we don't know for sure that there is, which is unfortunate, so that one's got to go back. This one has a little bit less going for it, but we do have the hope of hitting the Nantuko Husk, so we're going to keep this one. Don't love it. Hopefully our opponent's playing something slow. So any land is good, white land is great. In fact, if the top two cards are plains, I wouldn't complain. This one has the hope of interacting early, even though it's not necessarily like going to happen. It could. Alright, Screechy McScreechersons mills a Goliath and a Clash of Wills, so we know what his endgame is. As I said, plains is kind of the thing we wanted to draw, so we'll take it. He's all about them evolving wilds, yo. So we get beat down early. Now we need to stabilize. Knight of the Pilgrim's Road should do a fine job of that. We probably still take the hit from the Scab and consider using Enshrouding Mist to get through whatever he plays, because Enshrouding Mist and Nantuko Husk is a pretty good turn. And getting a 4-3 on the table is pretty awesome too. Oh, somebody's splashing. I see what you did there. Not trading yet. If we have to, we can trade off a Husk later. Like, even if this gets claustrophobia'd, we've got some good shenanigans there. So he looks like kind of your classic control deck. There's an argument for bonzing that because I have two. I'm going to see if he'll block first, because ideally that would happen. We can just eat his guy for 1 mana. Yeah, I like what you did there, buddy. That's a good combat trick. And now let's get Husky. And this should ideally make him want to hold back. Perhaps not. We'll see. And that lets us consider an aggressive suppression bonds, depending on what he plays. But just having him stop now is also fine. We've also got the opportunity to draw a 2-drop that's significantly less relevant and get in an attack with the Husk. Like, lots of things can happen here. A Knightly Valor would be good. That probably has to get Bondsded. It sucks that he gets like still value off of it by potentially buffing his guys. But it's going to kill me if I don't stop it. So the question is, once I do that, do we then attack? Because we know we're doing it. I guess if I trade this off and have a Husk left on the board, it's probably better than this guy. Neither of them are going to finish a game. I don't particularly want to trade either of them for that. I guess we can hold. That's not a trade I want. If he wants to swing in, our life total's still padded enough that I should be fine. We'll see how it works out, though. Naturalist is going to be pretty good against us. Popping Le Bons. That's why I say Conclave Naturalist is a real card. Because now we're going to have to bonds it again. He should attack with the Scab too. Like, these trades are good for him and I'd have to take one at this point. He disagrees. Which is great as far as I'm concerned. More land is not exactly the droid we were looking for, but we'll take it. I'm going to pretend like we have a Celestial Flare here and maybe keep him a little nervous about attacking in. Because I don't like our prospects of 2-for-1ing ourselves to get a Naturalist off the table. This is a board state where Tragic Arrogance would be pretty damn good, so I'd like to keep one creature on the table if I can. He likes swinging there. I think we need to pad the life total as much as we can and just go ahead and trade for this. And I think I like having the husk on the board more so than anything else. So yeah, let's suck it up and make the trade. I want to have one creature left, so if we do draw the Tragic Arrogance, we've got a thing. Like ideally he'd play out 2 creatures here and we rip Tragic Arrogance off the top, letting him keep this. And we'll keep the Suppression Bonds. At least he didn't have another one. That is not Tragic Arrogance. It is in fact the opposite of Tragic Arrogance. So now the question is, what draws do we have to get us out of this? This is a time where it's worth going and looking at your deck. So we may as well peek at that real quick. Freeform, Origins. It'd be nice if these were a little bit easier to find. That was one we did on stream. So we're looking for 816. It's not here at the bottom. Herpaderp. I want to leave us as many draws as I can to get to it. So there's 817, except that's a different format. 810. I should really start screenshotting these. We need something from 2015. Do I draft too much? Sorry, this is boring. I can pause it and find it. Okay, we've got it here. What I want to do is make sure I can read the bones into a Tragic Arrogance, as that's one of the few things that gets us out of this. So does that mean that I have to chump? I've got enough for Read the Bones and Tragic Arrogance, so blocking this may give me the most outs. Are there cards other than Tragic Arrogance that help if I don't chump? Because chumping actually only buys me 1 turn. If I chump here, what am I doing? I guess I'm playing around a pump spell, but I think he's blue-black control splashing for Naturalist, which is quite reasonable if you have 2 Evolving Wilds, in my opinion. Let's see what the attack looks like. I don't think he has a pump spell. If I trade with this, I guess I can draw something to chump next turn. And I don't think I can keep this guy alive, so I think we just go ahead and take this trade. It's sad, but that leaves me, I can draw another Suppression Bonds, I can draw the Totem Guide Heart Beasts. I can't draw Knightly Valor. I guess I could cast it on one of his guys, but... Tragic Arrogance? No. Plains. That's kind of exactly what we needed in no way whatsoever. I think we might have flooded out just a bit there. That is a thing that sometimes happens in Magic. So things I'm a little interested in might be the Guardians, the Slugfather, potentially a Returned Centaur. I didn't pick up an Oromancer, or I might want one here. There's an argument that Ascetic is probably good if he's blue, but we didn't see a Claustrophobia, so I'm not 100% sure. Slug buys a lot of time. What would I want out for the Slug? Actually, I don't think anything. I think we're fine. I just need to run this back and get a better hand. On the play, it should be easy. We could have some aggressive draws, too. See, this is a fairly aggressive draw. We'll keep this. This lets us actually do things. Like attack and block. Basically the stuff we didn't get to do last turn. It looks great. We've got 1, 2, 3 draw cards. One, two, and then our choice of 3s. Attack. You can't, because he can't attack alone. He just wants a friend. I don't blame him. Got a scab? If you don't have a 2-drop, you're kind of screwed. Okay, you have a 2-drop, but it's one we can attack into. So do I want Knigget or do I want Stalwart Avon? The Knight's better if we know we're drawing an enchantment immediately. But if we're not, then I think I might rather just get the Air Force going. Yeah. Let's get the Air Force going. The ground could easily get stalled out. No upkeep scry. This is probably a good thing for us. That stops not much, actually. In this case, the Knight probably would have been better, but I guess that's what we're doing this turn. So do I attack in and show him I don't have any tricks, or do I hold back? I guess it's probably better to hold back. Actually, there's no downside. I want him to attack with his flyer. I obviously don't have Enshrouding Mist, or I would have played it there, but... Well, actually, there it doesn't really do anything. I might have used it to get through the Scryfish, though. Scryfish can generate a lot of value if you give him enough time, and poking for 2 a turn is giving him enough time. Alright, that'll stop the assaults. For the most part. But like a suppression bond's off the top here, and we're actually doing something significant. He milled 2 scabs, a forest, and a void mage. With any luck, he's only playing 1 forest. And that means his naturalist will be stuck in his hand. So there's a bonds. So that means if I bonds this, we've got one hell of a swing. We swing for basically 6. I think I like it because I've got bones to get us more action if we need it. I just want to try to take advantage of this big board state that we've got going on here, and hitting him to 10 is pretty significant. He's scrying again, went bottom. Yeah, I like this deck on the play with 2 drops. Le Void Mage. Blocking, bouncing his own Centaur. That's interesting. He's wanting to get rid of my bonds. So options here include, but are not limited to, just slamming the Charging Griffin, because that can start attacking in the air. And I think that's probably better than not. I think we can also attack with these 2, because potentially he wants to trade these off. Our ground guys aren't actually getting any better if he's slamming that Centaur. We're not going to have attacks. So what I may want to do is just swing with all of them. If he wants to trade the Void Mage for the Knight, that's fine. He still takes 2, goes to 8. And then I've got 3 hits on this to kill him. I think I like that. Like, I imagine he just trades it there, and that's kind of fine. Because now he has to deal with the flyers. We're going to make this an air game, not a ground game. Odd to see Scrapskin Drake on blocking duty. Usually that's a pretty bad card because it can hardly ever block anything, but seems to be working out here. Can't block a Charging Griffin so well, though. And I was going to cut this guy. Ah, the Tower Geist. That plus Drake can trade for our Griffin. But it does mean we still get to attack with our ground guys. And Shrouding Mist is pretty good too, but I think we're going to start with a Wreaths of Bones. See if we can get some action going here. Planes I don't want. Suppression Bonds I do. And we got a swamp. So what happens here? I attack. He probably double blocks, presumably. And I can attack with the ground guys too. As long as we keep the Griffin alive, we should be close to winning next turn. So I think we swing everything but the Aven. Like, the only options he has is to single block a ground guy or to double block this guy. And either way, Enshrouding Mist gets him pretty good. What would I rather have dead? Probably the Drake, if we're planning an Air Force assault to win. Although it is kind of cute that he can't block any of our ground guys. It just makes him top decking another flyer really good. We already know he's got the Centaur. This is an air game. Yeah, if I get the Drake dead, I can start attacking with this too and make it harder for him to chomp. Let's do that. We can, of course, Suppression Bonds the other dude, the Centaur, if we want to. And we may well do that. Forcing him into potentially trading for the Topin Freeblade instead. Feeling good about this game, but there's still potential draws he could have that stymie us. Reef Soul being one of them. Now, again, we know he has the Centaur in hand. That kind of makes me just want to swing team, let him trade for the Freeblade, take 1, go to 5, play this. Then he slams Centaur to block, and we Suppression Bonds it and kill him? Yeah. I think I like that. Oh, he's just going to take the 2? That's fine as well. He really doesn't want me to get renowned. Claustrophobia would be kind of bad for us, I suppose. But I feel like anything else is just fine. That kind of sucks, but meh. What you gonna do? What are you doing? Why would you Reef Soul that? Because you have 2 of them. Okay. So does that mean we're going all in on the Stalwart Aven plan? It might. I suppose it depends on what we draw here. So I could Suppression Bonds this, and this is lethal in 3 turns. Potentially more if I draw Scarring or Knightly Valor. And I think that's just what I need to do. I don't like it. But we got to get in that damage. I don't need to play the land because I can still play Heart Beast into Scarring, which is what I would do next turn if I drew it. And there's some argument to making him wonder what I've got. He went bottom. He's got a lot of value off of that Scryfish. Scryfish doing God's work. Upkeep Scry, I like that. He went bottom again. He basically just needs a kill spell for this and he's back in it. And he's got it with the Reef Soul. So this is where we're going to need things to do some work for us. He has officially stabilized. But he's at 3. We still get damn close to winning with the Reef Soul. Not Reef Soul. Tragic Arrogance. Yeah, we can take 2 here. Because again, any removal spell at that point, we've still got another Bonds. We could potentially Bonds the Scab, swing in, hit him for 2, put him to 1 if we wanted to. I don't know that we do, but Plane's not exactly the droid we were looking for. But that's okay, we've still got draws. We probably block the scab if it comes in. I want to keep one creature on the board for the arrogance play. Yeah, this block is just a little too easy. It makes me feel like he's got something, but whatever it is, we just kind of have to deal with it. Watercourser, that's a good card. And that guy. So we could bonds him potentially if we draw that. Oh, we'll have to see what we get. Patron of the Valiant would be a decent draw as well. But I still think obviously the best is let Arrogance. Liliana's a fine draw. Swamp really isn't. That's a shame, getting somebody to 3 and that being kind of the end of your adventure. So we want to try to survive this turn. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coming in. Again, I think there's enough good draws. Like if we draw Heartbeast, we potentially win, right? I can cast it, get the last suppression bonds, play it, hit for 3. No, it's hit for 2. I think I got to take this. Again, the Tragic Arrogance is just too good, potentially. Finally, the Centaur we knew about comes back. I wonder if he mills me now. He's starting to run out of cards. He'll probably hit me and mill Tragic Arrogance, and we can just scoop. Alright, dealer. One time, Tragic Arrogance, top card, go. Yep, milling me. Please mill cards that are not Tragic Arrogance. So he milled Plains, Bonded Construct, Infernal Scarring, and Nantuko Husk, neither of which are cards I wanted to draw. So if there's any justice in the world, he's out of cards, we rip Tragic Arrogance, and it's game over, man. That said, there may not be any justice in the world. Oh, the slow rolls, the epic slow rolls. And Tragic Arrogance. Not Tragic Arrogance. It is Liliana, though. Is there a way we can do anything with her? We could block this, essentially negating 2 of these, and chump block a Watercourser. So that means he's getting in for 8, which means we're dead. So I suppose what I'd have to do is block this and chump block a Watercourser, and we're still dead. Alright, so that's not going to work. Is there anything that I can threaten to flip her with this turn and get back that does anything? I mean, Charging Griffin is good. Like, what I'm thinking is, I play her, I attack in, he easily blocks it, she flips, and I get a dude back, but none of the dudes actually do anything now. She would have been great last turn, but this turn I don't think she gets the job done. I guess we just play her and pass and see if he makes a bad attack, but it looks like a double chump. Like I block one of these, chump one of these, and he's got 8 damage on board, so that's not going to work. I'd have to double block the Watercoursers. That's one way we could win, I suppose. But if I double block the Watercoursers, I don't die. She doesn't flip. Like I don't get my value there. I do get a zombie left on the board, and then I guess I can draw Tragic Arrogance. It does seem like I've been saying I want to draw Tragic Arrogance a lot in this game. We'll see how that works. I'll pause it as we wait for our opponent to return. It looks like we're losing this game to just a massive board, but I think we're actually losing it to the Scryfish. Like, once he hit all the lands he wanted to hit, he could just scry all the rest of the bottom. And with infinite activations of that little dude, he just got so much value on us. We were close, though. And like I said, I think we've still got one more turn to draw an Arrogance and reset the board. Alright, he's upkeep scrying, which is fine. It's kind of sad. I don't want to see him go bottom or top. That's when you know you're living in fear of Patrick. Yeah, he went bottom, so still getting value off of that Patrick. And have I done the math right where I have to chump block water coursers? I think I have. Yeah. To stay alive. Alright, and Tragic Arrogance? No, Shambling Ghoul. Alright, buddy. You shamble. You shamble right on out there. Classic case of drawing the wrong cards at the wrong time. Or maybe of playing too aggressive in the beginning. It's kind of hard to say. That one's worth going back and reviewing. It did feel like I had some outs. We just needed to draw them a lot sooner. So Arrogance was pretty far down there. We were never really going to hit that. And there weren't really a lot of cards that did much. I think we just kind of puttered out of gas a little too quick, getting our damage in. And then he just was able to build a board and overwhelm us. That said, I don't think the suppression bonds early was a bad idea, because as it turns out, he never really played anything worth suppression bondsing, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it looks like we got. Well, that's kind of sad for the inaugural video of Strictly Better Gaming for me to be getting my ass kicked, but I suppose it also kind of fits in with the theme. I appreciate you guys tuning in, and you can look forward to weekly content here on Strictly Better Gaming in the future. And you can also catch us on Twitch. Mine is twitch.tv/Simulin. You can click the Strictly Better link there on my profile to see the other participants. Thank you for tuning in, folks, and we'll see you for another video here soon.